Hey, this is Emily Galvan-Almanza today with some super disturbing facts about your legal system. Let's talk about death qualification. Death qualification is the process through which potential jurors on a death penalty case are screened for their willingness to impose the death penalty. In other words, people who are not willing to impose the death penalty are not allowed to be on juries deciding guilt or innocence in cases that are potentially capital cases. This is a huge problem because it screens out an enormous swath of the public. Americans used to support the death penalty really broadly. 1994, 80% of Americans believed in the government's right to kill its citizenry. By 2023, only 55% of people support the death penalty. So already this process is excluding 45% of Americans. Catholics are more likely to be excluded. Black people are twice as likely to be excluded through the death qualification process, which of course doesn't just impact whether the jury ultimately imposes the death penalty. It impacts whether they find the person guilty in the first place. There has not been enough research on this, but a 1968 study, which is one of the landmark studies on this, showed that death-qualified jurors were 80% more likely to convict than juries who weren't death-qualified. This research was repeated in 1984. More recently, Dr. Craig Haney did a study on the process, the questioning, the effect of the questioning about the death penalty psychologically on the jurors, and found that that questioning increased the esteem with which jurors regarded the prosecution, increased their belief in the guilt of the accused person, and made them much more likely to choose the death penalty as the appropriate punishment ultimately in the case. Now, we know that one of the biggest problems with the death penalty is that juries get it wrong. Juries convict innocent people. And when there is capital punishment in place, that conviction has the most irreversible and horrifying consequence possible. And by using this death qualification process to screen out jurors who are skeptical about the death penalty, we are increasing the likelihood of conviction and thereby increasing the number of wrongful convictions as well.